What's up, guys? I'm going to talk to you guys about the National Collegiate Duels that is not going to happen next year. I actually had this on my list to talk about as just the idea of the National Duels since David Taylor brought it up. Became kind of a big talking point. Obviously, Kale has not been a big fan of this event. And if you know, you listen to me for all in 4 years, I think duels are a better commercial product than the tournament. Okay? And so if you're looking, I mean, look, last weekend, Nebraska versus Penn State sold out attendance record for Nebraska. This is happening everywhere. People want to consume dual meets because it's 2 hours. They don't have to commit an entire day to it. They go, they watch their team, they cheer it on, they will hopefully see some great matches, and then they go home. That's kind of like what people want to do. And obviously, Big Ten Network is now airing usually back-to-back duels on Friday. There's an early one and a late one. So duels are becoming very popular. They're a very consumable form of wrestling that people want to see. So am I in favor of national duels? Yes, of course. My full take, if I could do it, is that I want both to be national titles. I would like a dual national championship and an individual tournament national championship. I know I'm not in control. I can't do that. I got it. But, my argument has always been track and field has an indoor season and an outdoor season. Why can't wrestling simply do a dual meet season and a tournament season? It seems pretty obvious. It seems logical. It seems simple, right? Because I don't care pick which one you do first, but when it is dual meet season, you would see guys moving around more because it helps the team, right? It would be really fun if they were able to kind of separate those two things. And you could make, say, the dual meet season records count towards the individual season, of course, right? But I think it would be amazing. And so, I will say I'm excited that Flo is doing this event. I think it's really cool. I'll tell you, I do have a few contentions with it, and that is, a dual tournament is not a dual meet, okay? And so that means there's 16 teams, there's 2 days. That means each team, even if they just go front side and no wrestle backside, but backside could be 6 rounds, front side will be 4 rounds. That is 4 duels over the course of 2 days. That's roughly 8 hours of viewing. That's kind of what the problem with the tournament is. The tournament's too long. So if we wanted to do a dual meet tournament, or a dual meet event, kind of like, say, basketball does this, football is now doing this. I think it should be over the course of many weekends, and maybe make like a national championship weekend where you have I believe basketball goes Saturday semifinals, Monday national title, something to that effect. I'd be great with that. That'd be really cool. So then if you say, okay, well, we're going to narrow it down to 16 teams, how are you going to narrow it down to 16 teams? Well, this is obviously my contention is if we did a dual meet season, we could have some type of formula like every conference champion plus X, Y, and Z. Well, if we do that, then all these dual meets matter. And one of the contentions that people have in the past 5 years is dual meets don't really matter that much. And if the guys are hurt a little bit, they'll just sit out. And therefore, you don't get to see the best guys wrestling in duels because dual meets don't matter that much. Well, if the dual meets determine who went to the dual meet national championship, obviously the dual meets would mean more, right? So you'd get more of the best guys. Guys, I know I want to say this again. I know I'm living in a little bit of fairy tale land, and I know I'm not in control. I am laying out what I think the best way to do this is. So if I was in charge and say, this is how I would make it happen, right? Is you do some type of, I don't know, say 4 to 6 week season, which then determines who's in the tournament, and the tournament takes the place over the course of, let's say, 3 weekends, right? The first is the round of 16. The second weekend is the round of 8. And I would do home events, right? Because like I said, in Nebraska, they just set an attendance record. I watched a Rutgers duel. Their place was packed. I mean, there's a lot of programs which are packing the house for these dual meets. Watched a Minnesota match recently. I had a really, really full crowd there. So I would do home events for the round of 16. I'd do home events for the round of 8. And then maybe that final weekend, right? So this is somewhere between we'll say 7 and 10 week dual meet season. You have, a semifinals and finals, right? Where you're going like a Saturday and a Monday or something, Saturday, Sunday. I don't care. Something to that effect, right? Where you determine the title. Now, what else needs to happen in order to make this really prestigious? So, I outlined one where if the NCAA essentially mandates this as a national championship, everyone's going to want to attend. And so, therefore, it becomes really, really important. And the NCAA is not currently mandating this, which is going to make that harder. But if everyone just chose to attend, it would be popular. Now, who's the big dog? Who's the one against this? Kale is, right? Kale has chosen not to participate in this. I don't love that, of course, right? Because I think this could be a great, outstanding event. I think dual meets are the most fun way to showcase wrestling and get fans involved. Now, I should say, do I think this is going to like completely revolutionize the sport and bring so many more fans? I don't think that's the case. I do think, and I could argue, that this could become probably the most popular spectator wrestling event. I think that could happen, right? So it could become really, really popular. And obviously, if you make another event that's really, really popular, because the NCAA is pretty popular, you then get the NCAA and ESPN and wanting to invest more resources, which that is positive. So I don't think it's a huge game changer, but I think it could be a very, very positive thing for the sport of wrestling. So how do we get Kale involved? And Kale, to this point, and I don't blame him. I see what he wants to do. He says, "Hey, my job is the coach. My job is to run this team as good as I can." And he might very arguably the best ever to this point, right? And I see how he's saying this doesn't serve his purposes. But what I would like to see is say, I know this doesn't serve my purposes. I'm accomplishing what I accomplish. I'm winning everything. I agree with everyone else's sentiment. This would be a great spectator event for the sport of wrestling, and therefore I'm going to participate, even maybe if it's not in my best interest or fully in my best interest. Right? They did the dual meet event, collegiate national duels in Nashville, where they wrestled 3 matches over the course of a day. So it's like not like they're like totally opposed to doing something like this. I don't really see. I kind of see what his point is, but I also say, hey, Kale, let's elevate wrestling a little bit. Let's put it on the next level. Let's freaking do this. So I would love to see this happen. I love that Flow is getting something started next year with big prizes, which will ideally attract a whole bunch of good teams. I think without Penn State being there, because they're the elephant in the room. Doesn't matter what anyone says, they are. Without them being there, it will take down the notoriety of the event a little bit. And then obviously without official NCAA sanctioning. So those should be the 2 things we're pushing for. And I think if we got official NCAA sanctioning, then I do believe Kale would hop on board. So maybe that's the one thing we should be focused on is official NCAA sanctioning. But I think it is irrefutable that dual meets are the way to go in wrestling. I watched I think 3 of them last weekend. All of them were very well attended by fans. I think they're a lot of fun. The Penn State Nebraska one wasn't really close from a team score perspective, but there were the freaking awesome matches in there, and the crowd was really, really into it. Even on some of the small things, which is great. It means the crowd is educated on what is actually happening. So I love what David Taylor's doing. I love that he's pushing this. I would love for Kale Sanderson to kind of elevate wrestling to the next step and participate in this as well. I don't think this is going to be, oh my God, it's going to totally change the face of wrestling, but I do think this could become the biggest spectator event in the sport of wrestling within a few years if everyone chose to participate. So that's my take. I love that it's happening. I hope that happens even more, right, or even more significantly. And I hope you guys like a few ideas and maybe you can send them to whoever's in charge of the NCAA. Or maybe someday I'll be in charge of the NCAA. Never know. All right, have a good day, guys. Peace.